Wir haben vor einem Jahr ungefähr angefangen, hier mit dem Goethe-Institut Neuseeland zu sprechen darüber, dass wir ein Klimakulturprojekt machen möchten, in dem Künstler, also sowohl Illustratoren als auch Autoren, als auch Musiker miteinander arbeiten und zusammen was kreieren, was mit dem Thema Meere zu tun hat und mit dem Thema Klimawandel.
Welcome to the Goethe-Institut, Chiara. I'm very happy that you are here today. And I think we have an exciting project and with an open end. So I'm even more excited about the end of the project and as well the presentation on Sunday evening at the Performance Arcade. As well, I really look forward to the mural which we will have.
I'm really happy that you all accepted the invitation to this workshop, and so now we've been, Daniel and me, we've been doing these kind of workshops of intercultural, cross-genre encounters of artists now for several years. We've been focusing on climate change now for several years as well, trying to see how each of the artists can contribute in whichever artistic way. It doesn't have to be explicit, it's just how you feel like you want to tell a story in your art form, then that's the idea of it. And it's also the idea to listen to the others and see, okay, how can I put this into my art form, or how can I translate this piece of art into what I do, or to my people, to my listeners. And so this is mainly the idea of what this project is about. Also Künstler können jetzt, glaube ich, gegen den Klimawandel so proaktiv nicht die Welt retten alleine, aber sie können Sprachrohr für die Wissenschaft sein zum einen, also sie könnten sozusagen die Wissenschaft übersetzen ins Verständnis der Menschen. Wenn man das sozusagen, die Informationen, die es schon gibt, die wissenschaftlichen Forschung, in Kunstform übersetzen kann. Und Menschen, die zum Beispiel Street Art mögen, sehen sich Bilder an, die sie vielleicht neugierig machen oder irgendwie schauen, was soll das bedeuten, und sich dann vielleicht neugierig weiter informieren, worauf wird hier hingewiesen. So glaube ich, dass man mit der Kunst ein großes Publikum erreichen kann, von Menschen, die dann in irgendeiner Art ihr Handeln entweder vielleicht in gewisser Weise ein bisschen orientieren an dem, was vielleicht besser für die Umwelt wäre, oder vielleicht sogar eine Revolution starten oder halt schauen, okay, wie kann ich an dem kleinen Rädchen drehen, damit sich ein bisschen was verändert.
Heute war der erste Tag vom Dry Waters Projekt. Also eigentlich haben wir uns erstmal kennengelernt alle, uns ein bisschen vorgestellt, so die verschiedenen Künstler, was wir so machen. Und dann hatten wir einen Vortrag von Track Zero. Die waren da mit einem Klimaforscher, der extrem informiert so einfach so eine kurze Abhandlung für uns gemacht hat, wie es denn zurzeit aussieht so mit dem Klimawandel und mit den Meerestemperaturen und wo es hinführt, wenn es so weitergeht.
But the point is, these guys are going to run out. They're going to go by the end of the century. The ocean can only expand so much, and we might get another metre out of the ocean. But there's 65 metres in the ice sheets of sea level rise.
Danach haben wir uns so in unseren Gruppen zusammengetan. Also es gibt eine musikalische Gruppe, eine literarische Gruppe oder Textgruppe, Lyrikgruppe und eine Malergruppe. Also wir machen so ein Mural Painting. Wir bemalen so einen großen Container und da habe ich mit Ruth und Moses zusammen, haben wir uns halt überlegt, wie können wir dieses Thema, Ozeane und so, einfach in einem Bild umsetzen.
Und die Musiker, also Rob Thorne und der musikalische Leiter Daniel Allen, mussten mal schauen, okay, wie kann es klingen, also welche Melodien könnten wir dem Ganzen geben. Und die beiden Autoren, Sebastian Fuchs und Maraea Rakuraku, haben sich erstmal mit einem riesigen Brainstorm auseinandergesetzt, wo sie überlegt haben, okay, es gibt alte Sagen, die wir aufnehmen könnten, es gibt Gottheiten, die wir aufnehmen könnten. Es gibt aber auch aktuelle wissenschaftliche Zahlen, die aufgenommen werden könnten. Und wie kann man das alles in eine einstündige Performance packen?
Und dann am nächsten Tag auf wundersame Weise hat plötzlich jeder was mitgebracht. Und es war irgendwie klar, okay, wir machen so ein Stück, wir machen so ein Stück, wir machen so ein Stück. Und das fand ich schon echt sehr faszinierend, wie das begonnen hat. Die Projektidee fand ich erstmal echt challenging und dann aber wirklich großartig und sehr inspirierend, um an so einem Thema mal entlang zu arbeiten, auch Leute in diesem Thema zu treffen und einfach zu merken so, wow, wir müssen was machen. Wahnsinn. Also ohne aktivistisch zu werden, aber einfach nur, also bei mir hat sich echt die Idee oder das Thema wirklich im Kopf sehr festgesetzt. Darüber ist es toll, was selber zu produzieren, um dann sich zu engagieren darin.
So I think that artists are the great storytellers and that we can create a different kind of story. So I think it's really lovely to be with other storytellers using other mediums and to have that inform your own storytelling and to kind of figure out, I think for people to change the way that they see themselves in the world and their relationship to nature, they have to have a different story about themselves and about their relationship with nature. And for me, this is kind of the process that we're all, as artists who are addressing climate change, are part of.
Also die Idee ist so quasi also instant oder in dem Moment Kunst zu machen. Also wir versuchen so viel wie möglich live auch noch zu machen, von dem, das wir schon vorbereitet haben. Und ja, damit kein festes Thema ist, sondern ein bisschen Spielraum und daher sind wir immer entspannt, was am Ende kommt.
What I'm loving about the project is the cross-cultural contact between us, Māori, German, one of the musicians is Cuban, Isabel Spanish, and there's a really neat synchronicity happening there between cultures and communication and language.
Also es war nicht so, dass ich hier in Wellington rumgelaufen bin und mir gedacht habe, diese Möwe, die muss in den Text. Oder diese bronzene Statue oder so. Aber es war natürlich das Aufeinandertreffen hier mit den anderen Autoren, Musikern, das durch die Synergien einfach zu den Texten geführt hat.
The project brings together artists from New Zealand and Germany to create work about climate change. We have here writers, we have musicians, and we have illustrators here. And we as well try to connect science with art, and that's why we have this fantastic talk this evening.
These artists are actually collaborating across cultures and across different disciplines. And I want to acknowledge you because that takes a hell of a lot of guts to move beyond your own comfort zone and dig in deep to something you're passionate about and co-create together. And I just really want to celebrate that as well.
The future of sea level rise, the future of how our oceans work, at least in the next few hundred years, depends on how these things melt. So if we heat the ocean, the warmer ocean water, so when I say warm, I mean about minus 1.5 Celsius. If it gets underneath these things and speeds up the rate at which they melt, these things collapse. That doesn't change sea level rise. It unleashes the ice that sits on top of the land in Antarctica and Greenland. And so that's when we move into a world that we don't really know about. So the last point I'd like to make is around collaboration and the role of the arts and social sciences in getting this story across, because we've been putting the facts out since probably the mid-80s, and the story is not really gaining traction. And so we need, arguably, we could stop doing this and put all our effort into actually working out ways to convince people to change how they're living their lives. So we need alternate pathways to communicate this sort of stuff. And art is clearly a way of getting to a different audience. The vector there, really, the pathway there was young kids. Kids under 10, they'll listen to you differently. They will accept that science and art are together. They will accept that the climate is their future. And as we're seeing in Europe at the moment, where 15-year-olds are leading the conversation, they will be voting in a few years' time. And so art is a fabulous way to bring science into those young people.
When we do our projects, we always invite poems or artists from there and come with artists from Germany to learn from them, okay, what is the situation here? Such example, for example. And then they get into a dialogue and see, okay, what's our urgency or what do we learn from each other? It's mainly a project of learning, and then which word do we spread here? So that would be an example. What would these artists maybe talk about, okay, why is this not happening here, but we do this, and what do you do? So both exchange their experiences and say, okay, let's talk about what we do in Germany, for example, or what you do here, and then see how we can just show there are other possibilities.
The geographical markers are real, tangible things. I see them, I touch them, I grew up around them, I am them. It connects me to the land. It gives me something, it gives me standing, confidence, place. So, to learn that the geographical markers aligned with your identity can quite literally disappear with the rising of sea levels, as is the case with Tokelo, distressing, doesn't even cover how much I empathise with the people of that nation. Knowing they have 5 to 7 years till their nation's submerged and no longer exists, I feel so much grief for them. Because I know how it would affect me if I couldn't see my Mona, or if I couldn't touch my river.
We've got about 10 years to seriously get our act into gear and to structure our society and the way we do things differently. And beyond that, we're then unleashing some of this sea level rise and changing oceans. But that's not the end point, right? Whatever we do now and whatever we do in 20 years' time will make it not as bad. So you don't stop, and it's never too late.
Yeah.
But it is a 10-year marker. It's a pretty good thing to
It's
aim
7 for Tokelo.
Totally.
Wir sind in Wellington, also sowieso, und hier an der Waterfront. Hier hinten, da ist der Container, den bemalen wir mit 3 Künstlern. Das ist alles während diesem Arcade Festival. Und jetzt der wird noch umgebaut, dass wir dann da eine Fläche für uns haben zum Malen.
All in all, it was awesome. We all had to be like sensitive to each other because 3 different artists doing different styles, and we knew that in order for it to work, we needed to come together so that it didn't look like, you know, a big mess. So many different styles, and so we decided to pick a style, which was we liked Milan style of painting, and so we decided to go with that, and we were able to work it all out. Everybody did different sketches, different parts, brought in different ideas, and then we put it all together on the computer to scale, and we all contributed to the colours, the design, and then we gave it to Milan to finish it all off to make sure it looked like one piece of work. And then we came and painted it on here.
Maybe the most interesting thing about the project from my point of view on the psychological level is that in the end climate change involves a whole lot of people with different perspectives and different histories buying into one agenda, and in a way that's what we were trying to do in the painting. We were like one Tokelauan New Zealander, one European New Zealander, one German, and we were trying to all used to working in quite different ways aesthetically, and we were trying to come up with one story. And I suppose that's the challenge of climate change, is to find one story that the whole world can buy into.
Also es ist so ein Triptychon mit 3 Paneelen, und in der Mitte ist halt sozusagen der Jetzt-Zustand, der schon nicht so ganz gut ist, einfach weil der Klimawandel definitiv spürbar ist. Und auf der rechten Seite ist dann halt die Dystopie, wie es werden kann, wenn es total daneben geht und wir so weitermachen wie jetzt eigentlich. Und auf der linken Seite ist die Utopie, wie es wäre oder sein könnte, wenn wir uns anders verhalten.
Well, we are making steady progress with all the details, finer details.
So yeah, the painting was kind of like loosely kind of an interpretation, a modern interpretation of the Garden of Earthly Delights, and we were really keen to kind of include Tokelaua's situation in it because it's so urgent, and we had a Tokelauan artist, so we brought the main figure in the painting as a Tokelauan boy facing the future, and you know, loving his country, and realistically it might not be there for long. And so I think we just tried to kind of contrast that utopian, dystopian, and that kind of moral complexity of the situation we're in at the moment.
I knew some basics which I read and heard, but hearing more details and the facts that they put across really shocked me because my island and Tokelau were really small, and we're probably going to be some of the first islands to go under. And just hearing what they said about it could be, you know, within years instead of, I thought it was 100 years, but it's a lot shorter than that. And so that's really stirred me to really do something about, you know, what are we going to do for our island to keep our culture alive. So to me, it was a huge success. I really enjoyed it. It was just all positive. People loved it. Lots of people went past. This is a really good space because, you know, there's so much public walking around, a whole lot of different people doing wakaama and just running, jogging at all different times of the day, and it was a wonderful space.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always a really sociable thing, painting a mural, and it was a beautiful spot. It was like a really kind of a spot in front of a St. John's bar, and so there was a lot of kind of people hanging around kind of casually enjoying the beautiful day. And we were also lucky enough to have it the same weekend as Matatini, so there was that beautiful kind of vibe of lots of Māori performances happening in the Waka House, and it was just a beautiful experience to be out there and be part of that community in that particular weekend.
heute Abend sind wir hier in St. John's, auch in der Nähe vom Wasser. Und genau, diese Präsentation von No Boundaries, Dry Waters in Wellington, New Zealand.
We are very, very happy that you are here tonight for the presentation of the project Dry Waters.
Kia ora everyone. I'd just like to say that there is hope.
Stripped back to the core of your being involves addressing your fear. The impact on the unseen involves a radical care. So we've got a combination of works in Te Reo Māori, English and German, and we're all talking to what's happening with the climate.
Doch wofür zu gebrauchen? Was sollte ich damit tun? Und wer in Teufels Namen war der Vater dieses Balks?
Die Zuschauer bekommen eine kleine Ahnung davon, was für einen unfassbaren Impact der Klimawandel auf Maori-Völker hat, auf die Maori-Population, auf die polynesischen Nationen auch und wo der Klimawandel eigentlich beginnt. Und natürlich, klingt fast wie eine Plattitüde, aber durch die Texte und durch die Form lernt man nochmal so, okay, es beginnt doch in deinem Kopf und es beginnt nicht außen.
This goddamn windmill! It has been days now that it destroys my view.
Love the view it gives.
And do you think a soul would be able to solve this?
Yes.
No. If this continues, I will forget myself, believe me.
Believe me.
Not with me, my friend.
With me, my friend.
Not with me.
With me. Dressing up racial rhetoric in flash language is still just racist rhetoric in flash language, and sniffing that out in the first, I'm not racist, but it isn't recognising white privilege and entitlement, functioning under white privilege and entitlement, loving under white privilege and entitlement.
Verse, 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 verses, 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 aversion, 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 devotion, 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 devotion. Devotion, 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 the ocean, the ocean, the ocean, the ocean, the ocean, the ocean, 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 ocean.
I think it was lovely. People
got it and they understood. And I think also that's one thing that music and art can do, is kind of bring the emotion that maybe science can't. So we're able to kind of visit another part of the issue that we might not using other platforms.
Climate change, a deathbound howling. Climate change,
Stay in the energy.
this is its telling.
Thank you so much for coming by. Spread the word. 7 years, Paris Agreement.
Ich bin immer noch voll. Ich höre immer noch Sachen und Texte und Musik und alles. Also ich denke, war natürlich, also es ist ein gutes Gefühl, aber ich bin noch am Dekodifizieren. Aber ja, also fühlt sich gut an jetzt.
Ich bin sehr erleichtert, sehr, sehr. Und freue mich, dass es wirklich schön über die Bühne gegangen ist und dass es Spaß gemacht hat zuzugucken heute. In den letzten Tagen war es immer, wo man mitfiebern musste, ob jetzt alles miteinander funktioniert, ob sich alle miteinander verstehen, ob alles gut läuft. Und jetzt war es einfach schön, das Endergebnis zu sehen. Hat Spaß gemacht.
So yeah, the project was really interesting. It kind of highlighted the need for urgent action, and it certainly will change the way that I'm working into the future and the way that I try and communicate issues around climate change.
I was really excited before it started. Just being able to work with different artists from overseas in Germany, and so I was really looking forward to it. And when we came, it didn't let me down. It was far better than I expected, because the people are really awesome. The artists themselves, they're very humble and so talented.
But it's been a very satisfying, intense couple of days, and I've very much enjoyed it.
Natürlich hoffen, dass die Leute ein bisschen mehr ernst das Thema Klima nehmen, sozusagen. Alle, weil das ist unser Problem, also betrifft allen. Und ja, man kann mit Kunst, mit Wörtern, mit Zahlen, mit allen Mitteln kämpfen, was machen und ja, zusammen was erreichen.
Well, at the end of the day, it's a global issue, so it needs a global solution. So I think it needs communication globally to make it happen.